Alright guys, Kazoo71 here, Ark Survival Evolved, Ark Survival Ascended. I want to chat with you guys for a couple minutes this morning. A little different video than I've ever done before, but I want to talk about a couple of things. Just kind of share my thoughts. I got a lot of comments, and I really do appreciate comments, as I always say, so make them. I don't care if they're rude, mean, you don't like me. It doesn't matter. I love comments because it gives me an idea of what people think and where people are going, not just with what I do, but what's going on with the games that I play. So I did a couple of videos on this new snail games, Aquatica, on Ark Survival Evolved, and got tons of comments. It's like one of the most pumped videos I've ever pushed out there, so I thought it was kind of funny because basically the bottom line was one of the comments I got from somebody that really made me laugh about it because they said, I'm not going to buy it, but I'm interested in seeing the map. I mean, that kind of sums it up for most people. People don't want to buy it, but they were curious what it looks like. So, all right, so let's talk about the Ark Survival Evolved, Ark Survival Ascended Wildcard Discord channel. So, Dolly wrote out a little note to everybody I thought was very funny on 715. It says, hey, survivors, this is the official Discord for Ark Survival Ascended, which is the game that Studio Wildcard is working on. If you would like to discuss Ark Survival Evolved and Snail Games' new product, in other words, Aquatica, please join their Discord here, and they give you a link. So, in other words, stop talking about that release of that game that we had nothing to do with. So, thought that was very funny and very interesting. Now, some of the comments I had, like I said, I love comments. So, if you guys make comments, I appreciate them. One person said, at Switchy2850 said, do not buy Aquatic. It's crap. Snail Games do not deserve your money. It broke all the mods on ASE. Another person at Eddie701. I personally think this was a ploy to break the game to get all of us on ASE to move to ASA, with Ark Survival Evolved to Ark Survival Ascended. I only hate that they broke the mods that will more than likely get fixed, will never get fixed, as the modders quit Ark how it ended. So, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of modders aren't working on Ark Survival Ascended. They just refuse to. And they did some very good mods on Evolved. And then another at Bubbly Buns. I'm so confused why they're making updates for the older game. I don't really get why anyone would play it unless some people have older PCs that can't handle Ascended. I mean, it's cool, but it's also confusing. And then at Sir Tur Gamer, I can't say the whole thing, but what the beep, promoting this horrible DLC. Triple smiley faces and or laughing faces and hypocrisy. Thought that one's pretty funny. And then another one, bro, come on, be realistic. The game is crap. And then another one, I'm not going to buy it, but I'm interested in seeing the map, like I told you guys. And then somebody else, thank you for showing us the brokenness. LOL. So, one more. This one is the top of all the comments I got. This one just cracked me up. I don't understand. People say not to buy, and they're recording and making videos and series. Snail Games must pay you very well. So, that's funny. So let's start with that one. Number one, I don't work for those guys, man. I work in a commercial collection agency. I'm a sales rep, national account sales rep at a sales division of a commercial collection agency. I am in the finance world. I've been in this industry for 19 plus years. I am not a game developer. I'm not going to work for those guys. I have nothing to do with anything like that. So the reason I'm telling you guys my background is I want to talk a little bit about Snail and Wildcard, because the comments that I see all the time are people complaining about why they do this, why they do that. I can't believe that they're making us pay for this. And I'm just sitting here just cracking up all the time because people complain about everything, because everybody wants everything handed to them for free. But then when they get stuff for free and they realize it's crap, they're like, why is it crap? Well, if you want something for free, dude, the quality to make stuff, you got money that goes into that stuff, man. You can't just make stuff for nothing. So let's get into all this stuff. I want to talk to you guys about these things. We're going to cover a couple of things. So let's talk about Snail and Wildcard first. It's just brief history here. Snail Games, founded in 2000 in China. They were among China's earliest online game developers and the first to create 3D titles. Over the next decade, Snail focused on MMO RPGs, and then it grew to a global publisher with offices in the US, EU, Russia, Taiwan, with over 70 million registered users and a portfolio spanning PC, console, browsers, and mobile titles. So it got huge, right? In December 2015, Snail USA acquired Studio Wildcard, making Wildcard effectively a development arm of Snail under its U.S. subsidiary. So, if you don't understand finance world, you don't understand how these things go, let me explain it. If a company is acquired by someone else, it usually means that they need the cash to move into another division, or someone is making them an offer they can't refuse because they see the person who purchased them or acquired them sees the potential in that company to develop what they're trying to develop in the U.S. So if Snail Games saw, hey, we're trying to develop a U.S. presence here in the development and we like what these guys are doing, let's make them an offer and buy them or acquire them, let them stay. So that's kind of what they did. I'm not going to talk about all the details of the deal, but that's kind of how that works. Then Studio Wildcard. Let's talk about them. Founded in October 2014 in Redmond, Washington by Jerry Stinglitz, Doug Kennedy, Jesse Rapsek, and Susan Browning. Apologize if I'm saying your names wrong, but there you go. Oh, Susan Browning Steglitz. So it must be Jeremy and Susan together. Early growth sparked controversy when Trendy Entertainment sued them for allegedly violating a non-compete lawsuit that was later settled in April 2017. I read all about that lawsuit. You guys can look that up if you're interested. Wildcard hit gold with Ark Survival Evolved, as we all know, released early access in 2015, and officially in August 2017. The title sold over 35 million copies and has drawn more than 40 million players. One of the greatest games of all time, just so you guys know. Minecraft being the greatest, Ark is up in the top 5. I think Ark is 2 or 3. Ark Survival Ascended. Wait, excuse me. They came back with Pick Arks in 2018 and the promise of Ark 2, announced in December 20, starring Vin Diesel, which, as we know, Pick Arks was a big flop, and in Ark 2 is probably never going to come out. Ark Survival Ascended, UE5, Unreal Engine 5, remastered launch in 2023. Thanks to ongoing collaboration and publishing support from Snail. So that's kind of the gist of Wildcard and Snail, so you guys understand. So they basically formed independently, and Snail acquired them. So bottom line, Snail's backing enabled Ark's global reach, remasters, spinoffs, and sequel development. So without Snail's backing and Snail's money, Ark may have never gotten there, or they would have gotten there with somebody else. Somebody else would have had to step in because Wildcard didn't have the funds in general. That's what I'm trying to say. So in sum, Snail Games, pioneering Chinese online gaming, founded in 2000, extended its global influence by acquiring the talented US-based studio Wildcard in 2015. And Wildcard, since its 2014 inception, has focused on high-end indie development and achieved huge commercial success with Ark. Their collaboration combines Snail's publishing and corporate support with Wildcard's development vision. So that's just a brief rundown on the game. So you guys understand, if you don't know where they came from, that's where those guys are from. That's where the games are, and that's what's going on. So let's talk about money. Now, this is something I understand very well, being in finance for, like I said, 19 plus years and being in commercial collections. So people have money problems. Things happen. So bottom line, the short version, you give stuff away for free, you ain't making money. So let's talk about it real quick, right? We're going to go through these things. So let's talk about their shrinking revenue. So Snail Games revenue halved. Their income from Ark titles dropped significantly from $124.9 million in 2020 to $60.9 million in 2023. That's a huge drop, guys. That's over half in 2 years or 3 years. So basically this was attributed to Survival Evolved sales decline, right? So then they got a loan from Nitrado, which we'll talk about in a second, in mid-2023. They secured a $4 million zero-interest loan from Nitrado, which included forgiving $1 million in unpaid server hosting debts and a $3 million investment. And in 2024, their losses were $1.9 million loss, even after a $5.1 million boost from Ark Ascended revenue. And we'll talk about that. That's profit and loss stuff, guys. Well, I'll explain a little bit of that in just a minute, but not too much. I don't want to bore you guys, but if you don't understand this, I want to explain it. And no, let me say again, I don't work for them. I'm not trying to bump you guys up. I'm just trying to explain for all you people who are mad of why they do what they do. I mean, come on. It's just a lot of it, I think, is attributed to not understanding how things work in finance. I mean, it's just how it is. So cash grabs, let's talk about that. So And the backlash. Paid DLC during early access 2016. Scorched Earth launched with $19.99 before the original game was out of early access. So people got mad at that. They were saying Wildcard was greedy, but that was actually a smart thing to do, and that's getting money to support what you're developing stuff. That's booking. So price hike at full release 2017. Ark's base doubled from $30 to $60, drawing accusations of simple greed from fans. People are like, oh, you're just a money grab. No, dude, they got to make money. That's the way I look at it. We'll talk about it more as it goes here. I'm going to show you guys a graph and everything. Can I explain this? Ascended's priced at full cost. Originally, they teased a free upgrade of Ark Survival Ascended, which we all know. That was a lot of people were mad at that. They went back and forth with this. They had 3 or 4 different announcements flip-flopping. I remember this 2023. It was crazy. And then it launched at full price, $40 to $60 as a standalone, forcing players who already own the game to pay it again. I did it. I needed to do videos for my YouTube channel, so I had to buy it, and I wanted to buy it to support these guys because they need the money. So then they, as we all know, they forced the server shutdown. So original official servers were shut down, pushed players into the paid remaster. We all know that that's why they did it. They needed the server space. They needed the money for the servers, and they shut them down to force everybody to buy the new one. They lost a lot of players because of that. But that's just the gamble. Sometimes you got to gamble with those things. So DLC microtransaction controversy. Yes, everybody's so mad that they added microtransactions. It's part of getting money. So that's how these developers and people need to make money. So Ascended introduced paid packs like Bob's Tall Tales and premium mods, as well as Overwolf integration and server exclusivity deals, triggering accusations of greedy pay-to-win content. Anyway, I'm not going to get in all these comments from other people. I have some comments on here from people in Reddit and stuff like that, and just kind of doing a little research before we talk about this stuff. So this is basic what it means, right? Financial desperation drove decisions. With revenue falling, depths mounting, Snail needed immediate cash. Ascended sales and DLCs were structured to generate it fast. They had to change their structure to try to make money, right? They forced players into spending. So they shut down original servers and started charging for a full price for a remake. Loyal players essentially compelled to repurchase or lose access. So we all know that that's what happened. That's why a lot of people got mad. It's like, you're making me buy this game again. Well, the sad truth is, here's my point, is I understand playing with other people. I play single player almost all the time. I've done servers. I've played with other people. I haven't played on official servers much because I didn't like them because they were always crashing and there was too many cheaters, right? But when you're playing with other people, you want to keep playing with other people and you want those free servers to play on. It's just another thing of people wanting free stuff. I'm just going to tell you guys, I mean, if people are going to get mad at me for saying these comments, and I don't care. Free is not always good, man. You can't always get free for free, and people just want everything handed to them on a silver platter. That's just not how this works. So, long-term risk. Snail's heavy dependence, 80 to 90% on Ark revenue. As some people say, it's 90%. So, let's just say 80 to 90 to be safe. A major loan and repeated unprofitable quarters suggested a fragile financial foundation. So, they were dropping. I mean, they were losing money. So, bottom line, with all their cash, they launched Ascended as a cash rescue mission, trying to leverage repurchase, paid DLC, and all that stuff to try to get money. And that's why it happened. So let's talk about why they lost money, right? So this is the part that I want you guys to understand if you don't understand how companies run and companies make money. A lot of you guys play Ark, maybe younger. I mean, I'm old. I'm in my 50s. So I've been playing games since I was a young kid. And, you know, games back then weren't like they are now. So, but you got to make money to continue to push out content. That's just how things go. So, and this is not a video supporting them or not supporting them. This is me doing a video to explain to you guys how these things work if you don't know, right? So, Snail Games revenue slumped, dropping from $24.9 million in 2022 to about $60.9 million by 2023, which you already mentioned. This was stemmed from a blend of market fatigue and missteps, and let's talk about it a little bit. So, Ark franchise aging and missing content. They had no major DLC in 2022. Following Genesis Part 2 in June 2021, Snail released no DLC for Ark in 2022. So they had a year of no new revenue producing income, right? Only stuff that they already had. So that hurt their revenue streams. They had age-related sales decline. As Ark matured, which games do, sales naturally dwindled. Snail noted a decrease across sales and deferred revenue in 2022 tied to an aging franchise. So this goes to 10Ks, and that's your annual financial reports for the SEC filings that you have to file. So that's where that comes from. Now, free promotions and undercut sales. Aggressive freebies. Snail ran a free week promos on Steam and Epic Games, and in a subscription-based giveaway. They massively drove installs, 36.7 million installs in 2022, but significantly depressed paid units. Unit sales dropped from 5.4 million to 4.2 million in comparable 9-month periods. So if you're having sales drop, but you're driving installs, I mean, you're giving away the game for free and hope that it boosts players to, give the word to other people so they'll buy it, or that they'll pay some of these DLCs and stuff like that. That's what you're doing. So you got a whole bunch of free installs. You gave the game away for free to 36.7 million people, and then your sales dropped because you weren't pushing the game or selling the game. So rising costs and legal expenses. Higher G&A, that's general and administrative costs. So let's talk about the cost-wise, how cost goes, so you guys will understand this a little bit more. So you got legal, compliance, R&D, research and development fees. They spiked in 2022. Their general and administrative costs rose by $5.9 million. It was up 36%, driven by legal litigation, IPO compliance, more staffing. They added a bunch of staff. And then Atlas. We all know the big flop of Atlas. So a non-Ark project, Atlas, had a notable impairment of $16.3 million in 2021, leading to higher amortization comparisons in 2022. So they had a drop because of that. That caused a lot of issues. I mean, you put a lot of money into making something and not making money off of it. That's a problem. So plummeting profits and cash burn, booking decline. That's when people were promising to purchase, and they're counting that money towards future or something like that. And then they had a net loss and cash flow hit. In 2022, they saw a drop in net income from $7.9 million to $1 million. Operating cash flow turned negative by about $3.4 million due to increased costs and fewer sales. So if you got more costs and you're not selling, you're going negative. You're going the opposite direction than you need to go. So with Ark 1 losing momentum, Ark Survival Evolved, and needing frequent content to sustain revenue, Snail faced a financial crunch. The clear way out was to revitalize the franchise with Ark Survival Ascended, which we all know didn't really work that well. They tried to generate premium sales and they secured a loan for the transition, resulting in a $4 million deal with Nitrado and server exclusivity, which we all know. We're going to talk about that in just a second too. So basically, summary. Let's just summarize this real quick, and then we'll talk about a couple more things here. And I want to talk about game development so you guys understand too. Basically, 2022, no DLC. So they had a $32 million revenue drop. Free promos, higher installs, but lower actual bulk copies. That's a problem. Cost spikes. General administrative, legal, research and development increased expenses significantly. And then they had a debt and cash burn, declining income, or rising operational costs. So when costs go up, income goes down, you're in trouble. So bottom line, their natural decline was coupled with aggressive free promotions and higher costs, and it sapped their profitability. So they profited from Ascended cash flow injection, but it didn't really help them. So it just kind of stabilized them for a moment. So let's talk about game development. I want to go through this kind of quick. I don't want to talk too much about this. I've been talking too long already. But let's talk about game development, guys, because game development matters when you're talking about how it costs these guys. So basically, pre-production, concept and design, prototyping, market research, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's usually 5 to 10% of the total cost. That's it. Production, 50 to 70% of the total cost. I mean, you're talking about programmers You're talking about designers, so programmers 80. Let's just take them 80 to 150,000. Designers 70 to 130,000. 3D artists and animators 60 to 120,000. Sound engineers, Q&A testers. I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. So typical team size is 20 to 200, and it takes 1 to 5 years typically to make a game. So you cost in anywhere from 2 to 25 million just to make a game or a DLC. So, and then when you're talking about all that stuff and you add Unreal engines, you got royalty and license fees. You got other things that you have to pay that go with this: audio tools, monocap, project management software, and so you're looking at a lot more money on top of everything else. Plus, you have asset and world building, where you're building custom models, your voice acting, your music and soundtracks. You got to pay for all those things. You got to pay for testing. You got to have people test them. They shoot them out in early access to try to have some of us buy them or get in early access to test them out and see the bugs. This is a lot of stuff that goes into this stuff. So, and then on top of all that, you got publishing and launch. You gotta do marketing. You got a distribution. You got to pay, you got Steam, Epic, Xbox, PlayStation, store fees, 30% cut. So they have a revenue share with all these systems. They don't just push them out on Steam, Epic, they all make money off of this. So Ark or Snail Games has to pay those guys. Server hosting, multiplayer persistent worlds. I mean, these guys hosted servers for you guys to play for free on servers. So you're playing with all these people for free for years, and these guys are paying for it out of their pocket, their cost. That's a cost that they don't pass on to us because they're paying for it. So, and that's a way to, you're judging costs against revenue. So you're hoping that by spending the money to do this, you're going to drive more players to the game. They're going to buy more. So that's just a gamble that they did. Post-launch support, then you got all these things, people putting in tickets, ongoing costs of patches and all that stuff. They make mistakes. They got to fix things. You got to constantly, as you guys know, Ark has had so many problems, so many glitches. They have to do so many patches. Man, I can't even tell you how many patches they've done. But it costs a lot of money to do that. So typically, your game costs, you're talking a lot of money to build a game. And you got to have a revenue to come in and get money back on these things, right? So that's just kind of where you're at. So like I said, I don't want to cover this too much, but a real world example is Ark. I mean, Ark had a huge drop, and we're going to talk about that. Let's talk about this graph real quick. I'm going to throw up a graph just to kind of give you an idea of free DLC versus paid DLC. So the free one being in red, so you got your development costs. You have your quality assurance and certifications. And you have marketing, and you have server and infrastructure. So all these costs I just talked about, as you can see, they're all equal no matter what, whether it's free or pay. But if you have paid DLC, you have a revenue. So if you have free DLC, you have no revenue. So you have all these costs with no revenue. So that was their problem. They were pushing out all this free stuff with no revenue coming in, and they were just killing themselves. So let's talk about the Nitrado deal. Real quick, we're going to cover this real fast. It's basically a short version of this. It's $4 million loan for 7-year hosting monopoly. So in 2023, Snail Games USA and Nitrado parent company, they struck a deal. $4.05 million in financing, clearing a $1.05 million in prior server debt, and a $3 million in new funding in exchange for exclusive rights to host Ark servers, including Ark Survival Evolved, Ascended, and upcoming Ark 2 for 7 years. So they have 7-year rights for this stuff. So until the year 2030, no one else can host these games anymore. So it's just crazy. So we still have us that were hosted on other games, on like other servers host from Ark, but you can't do new ones. They won't let you do new stuff. Anything new coming out goes to Nitrado only. So they had a caveat in there that they had to release it by October 31st, 2023. So that was the deal. If they didn't release it by that day, then the agreement would also lock Ark Survival Evolved under Nitrado exclusively. So we would have lost all our servers. They would have kicked us out of all the other people that host servers if they wouldn't have released it by October 31st, 2023. So basically what Nitrado got was worldwide, irrevocable, non-transferable hosting rights for all official and private server rentals. And the pack covered all future remakes, sequels, and spinoffs. and Snail would repay the loan with 20% of most monthly gross Ascended revenue until the 4.05 million is paid back. So basically, they had a date to meet. They met the date. So let's get down here. I want to show you guys. I got a lot of notes here. I just don't want to cover it all. But basically, what they did was they hit that date with the release of on PC. So PC launched Steam October 25th, 2023. So they met that October 31st deadline, just ahead by a few days. Xbox came out on November 21st, 2023, and PlayStation November 30th, 2023. So they met the deadline. So they made it so that we could continue to keep our stuff. So they pushed out a game that wasn't really ready for release, as a lot of people complained, but they had a reason to do so. They had to get it out on time. And so that's my take. So I know I've talked for a long time, guys. I just want to cover this because when I see comments, and I've always seen this, I've been doing this for a long time now. I've been playing this game since 2016, but I've been doing videos since 2021, and I've seen comments from people all the time that are just complaining about why they do this, why they do this, why they making us pay for this. Dude, you've got to make money to continue to make product. You can't just continue to lose money and think that everything's going to be fine. I'm always concerned too that the game is out there, but my always concern is like, what happens if these guys totally go bankrupt or crash? What happens to the game? Now, we have it installed, but it's also through Steam or through Xbox and all this stuff, and everything is through the cloud now. So what happens if they go and the game just gets taken over or done away with? Do we all lose our stuff? So all these players that complain, I'm not playing it anymore. I mean, for those of us who love Ark and love the game, man, I hope that things don't go wrong. I'm versed well in finance, but I'm not versed well in the world of gaming and how that licensing work and how that cloud stuff works if something happened. That is not me. So if anybody knows how that works, please let me know. Put a comment in there. I'd appreciate that as well. I'm just curious if they went under, if somebody else might buy the franchise or buy the game and keep the game going. But I mean, I'm guessing a lot of things are going to go wrong if they go under, man. If we lose them or we lose Ark, we're losing a great game. I don't think we're going to lose it. Personally, I think it'll stay where you can still play it single player. It's just going to be hosted on your own computer, stuff like that. And there'll be ways around it and stuff. So, but let me know your thoughts, guys. I hope I explained this well. I'm just trying to go through the finances and things because, like I said, people just always complaining about why are they? It's a cash grab. It's a cash grab. They got to make money, man. If they don't make money, they can't keep producing stuff. So. Duh. So for you people who don't understand, players out there, younger players, people not in finance, people don't understand money, you can't just put out free stuff all the time and continue to operate. Eventually you go, let's think of it like this. One quick thing. Let's just say your favorite restaurant. I'm not going to do franchises because franchises are different. Let's just say your favorite restaurant in town decided to give all their food away for free. How long do you think they would be able to operate with paying staff, paying for their building, paying for the food that they buy to make the food, paying for the electricity, all the stuff that goes into it, the advertising and everything, if they were giving everything away for free? You have to have a profit and loss. You have profit and loss statements. You have to have profit to have revenue so that you can continue to operate. If you're not making money, you get shut down. So if you give away everything for free, if the restaurant gave all their food away for free, they wouldn't be open for more than a couple of days. That's just how it goes. You can't make money giving stuff away for free. Free stuff is okay every once in a while, but you got to have stuff to back it up that covers the money. That's why they do all these paid things. They're not paying to win, paying to cheat, and you guys are playing official and all that stuff and don't want to pay for that stuff. That's on you. But, yeah, I have all that stuff just because I pay for it for video purposes and stuff. But, yeah, that's just my thought, guys. So I rambled a little bit, kind of talked. I was reading some notes I had. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please like and subscribe. Like I said, very different video than I do ever. It's more like a podcast, which I don't do. But I just wanted to throw this out there for you guys. So if you don't understand finance, maybe you understand a little bit more and be a little less harsh on these guys. No, not defending them. I just understand. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.